Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is May 27, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 212 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, as I mentioned in every video, I'll mention it here, I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from the official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin, which right now the most recent one is on June. So let me switch to June so that we don't confuse anything. Although we are still in May for the next 3-4 days. There we go. All right, so let's start with the very first question coming from user CL6QJ. Sorry, for some reason YouTube does not show me the names for some of the commenters. Hi, I am H Digitally. Do you remember me? Yes, I do. Thank you for another comment. Appreciate it. Anyways, I'm in the USA currently and I have filed my I-485. Now, it shows case was update to fingerprint were taken. Okay, perfect. So you're already done with your biometrics. After that, how long does it take to get my green card? Okay, great question. So the best thing for you to do now is to check the processing times on USCIS website. I'm gonna give you the link. Depending on which state you're in and depending on which service center your application went to, and let's double check that because some of the applications, they just go to one service center. Sometimes there's less options, sometimes there's more options, but this is where you can find it. This is the official government website for US Citizenship and Immigration Services. And for everyone who's watching this video, if you're interested about processing times on the USCIS side specifically, and whenever we're talking about I-485, it's mostly USCIS. Not mostly, it is USCIS strictly, and that's really it. So let's click on check case processing times right here from the tools menu at the very top. Now for the form, we're gonna select I-485, application to register permanent residence from form category. So there are a few different ones, and this is where your processing times gonna vary. So there's employment-based, there's family-based, there's under certain refugee programs, asylum. Let's say, for example, if you've been granted asylum for 1 year and you are eligible now to file petition to register permanent residence application, there's only one option for all field offices, and the processing times right now 32 months. So 32 months since the receipt of the application. Keep in mind, this is for 80% of the cases. So there is still 20% of the cases that are processed either faster or slower. So this might not be as accurate as specific to your case, but yes, this is the best place for you right now to look at for the processing times. So let me post a response and I'll give you the link for the page. And we're gonna move on to the next question comment from, again, user, sorry, again, no name for some reason, US citizen, applied for wife's immigrant visa, chargeability date 2020, documentarily complete, November 2023, case at NVC, country Pakistan, Islamabad, waiting for a visa interview. Okay, so the good news is that because you're a US citizen, petitioning for your wife, she's in immediate relative category, so her immigrant visa is already available. So it doesn't really matter, the chargeability, the priority date, the chargeability area doesn't really matter because the immigrant visa is already available because she is in immediate relative category. In fact, her immigrant visa was available as soon as the USCIS approved the I-130 petition. Not so good news is that Islamabad, US Embassy in Islamabad, they are pretty busy as far as I can tell from the comments from people commenting on this channel who are from Pakistan, and the interview wait time seems to be around 2 years. Now, a lot of times, depending on the US Embassy, depending on their scheduling system, some US embassies, they give priority to immediate relatives, so immediate relative people in that category, they wait less than people in 4 family preference categories. But it's not always the case. It's not always the case, and it varies from US Embassy to US Embassy, depending on which country you're going through. Now, you've been waiting for you're already documentarily qualified back in November 2023. So right around, let's see, November, December, and now we are in May. So about 6 months you've been waiting. So I would say right now is a good time for you to reach out, either you or your wife. You know, she's there in Pakistan, so it's easier for her to reach out to the US Embassy in Pakistan and ask them. Call them over the phone and ask them, say, hey, you know, I'm a wife of a US citizen, immediate relative category. I have been documentarily qualified back in November 2023. I just wanted to see when my interview is scheduled for. A lot of times they will say, we can't give you that information, but I have seen in some situations they do, because it's not an official announcement, and they can look into their system and say, yeah, we have your interview scheduled for, you know, let's say another 6 months you have, or another year. They cannot give you an official announcement of the interview date, because officially they can only do it 30 days before the actual interview date, because you have to do the medical examination within 30 days. That's their current rules. Sometimes, very rarely, 60 days, but in most of the cases it is 30 days. But it is worth a shot giving them a call, and even if they cannot give you your wife's interview date specifically, maybe they will be able to give you instead how long approximately people in the immediate relative category as of right now are waiting for the interviews, because it's very country specific. So I'm gonna give you the contact information for US Embassy in Islamabad. There we go. And for everyone who's watching, if you're looking for US Embassy contact information, usembassy.gov, this is where you can find it. So Pakistan, and there you go. This is their phone numbers. So let me post the response here. And if they don't give you that information, if they say, sorry, we can't give you anything, don't be upset. Just say, okay, thank you for your help, and that's it. There's really no point of arguing or trying to, you know, get anything out. And for everyone who's watching, if you are from Pakistan and you did have your interview scheduled already, please comment. You can comment on this video. Let me know how long you waited, because I do have the list of countries going and how long the wait time for each specific country, for each specific category even. And once I collect, obviously, you know, if I know a certain country, and I can answer it a lot easier, because like I said, this is the best source of information, someone who actually had been scheduled in that country. All right, let's move on to the next one from Muhammad GW7CB. Great video. How much I have to pay for renewal refugee travel document? I am pending green card. Thanks. All right, let's take a look. So we are looking at form I-131. So we're gonna find that. Let's see if it's anywhere here on the main. No, it isn't. So we're gonna go to all forms. 131. And if everybody's watching, this is how you find really any form that you need. In this case, we're looking for application travel document. This is the official page for this application. And for any application that you're trying to do your research on, this is how you find it, through forms at the very top of the navigation menu, and then all forms, and then you can scroll it. They're all in alphabetic numerical order, or you can just type in the search box. And each application has its own page, where if you scroll down, there are a few drop down tabs, and in this case we need the filing fee. So there you go. And the filing fee, we're gonna have to navigate to the fee schedule for this particular one. So there you go. I-131, application for travel document if you're filing as a refugee or person. So again, depending on if your permanent residence application is pending based on the refugee filing. In that case, the paper filing looks like online you're not able to file, but in that case it's going to be 0. To request a parole based on urgent humanitarian reasons or significant benefits, 630. A filing for re-entry permit, 630. A filing for refugee travel document for an asylee or lawful permanent resident who obtained such a status as asylee, 135. Under 16, over 16, 165. If you filed Form I-1485 application to register permanent resident or adjustment on or after July 30, 2007 and before April 1st, 2024 and paid the Form I-485 fee and your Form I-485 is still pending, it is $0, which is what sounds like might be applicable to you. But again, double check specifically what you're applying based on your I-485. And if this is the case, if this is applicable to you, then it's going to be 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the response here, and I'll give you the link for this particular page. And I'm not sure, yeah, I think it should open up on this I-131, but if it does not, just click on the drop down here and select I-131 and it will give you the fee schedule for I-131 specifically. All right, let me copy this and we're gonna move on to the next one from Polybius11. Do I apply for this if I am a veteran? I can barely afford the fee, so if I can avoid it, I would like to. Polybius, first of all, thank you for your service. Yes, absolutely. This is what exactly what this well, it's not an application, it's a request. But yeah, we can, I guess, call it an application I-912 that you submit as part of the application package, depending on which petition, which application you're applying for. The few downsides that you need to consider whenever filing the I-912 is that if the application, if the petition, the initial one that you want your fee to be waived for, if it is available to file online, unfortunately you won't be able to take advantage of it, because as part of requesting that fee waiver, you have to file the application package together. So let's say you are filing an I-130 petition for a relative who is outside of the United States. And you want the I-130 petition fee waived. You have to, instead of filing online, you have to mail it as one application package with I-912 at the very top, so that once the immigration officer opens up the application package, they see the request for a fee waiver first and they can review it first. So that's the downside to keep in mind. Another downside is that you're kind of, in the dark whether or not your I-912 will be approved or not. And if it is not, then obviously if you have not sent the payment for the application, they will return it. They will say, oh no, we did not approve, so you might lose out on some time. So this is a couple of things for you to keep in mind. But yes, absolutely, this is what the I-912 is designed for. So all you will have to do is obviously fill out the I-912 and then provide the evidence showing the financial hardship. And the evidence for that, it can be some kind of public benefits that you are receiving. Obviously, as a veteran, you're probably receiving from VA, I guess, something. You can show that as evidence, and the bank statements, of course, it will be sufficient as well. It is at the discretion of USAS whether they approve it or not. Unfortunately, they don't have very specific guidelines for approving the requests for a fee waiver, but it is definitely worth a shot, because yeah, some of these petitions, applications, they are quite expensive. So let me post the response and we're gonna move on to the next one from Zahra. Cool. Zahra, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. Appreciate that. So Zahra says, as soon as the priority date is current and your visa is available, the NVC will send it to the embassy and they will inform you by email about your interview date 1 month before the interview. Yes, that is correct. And of course, it depends on how busy the US embassy is, because you still have about, on average, about a year. That seems to be the average time that people are waiting for their interviews to be scheduled. But again, some of the countries, some of the US embassies in the countries where immigration traffic, immigration flow is heavier, they experience longer wait times for the interview. All right, let's move on to the next one from MJIY7LE. My mother applied in 2015, got approved in December 2020. Now we have an appointment in June 2024. But they are saying that my son, who is now 23 years, has aged out. What should I do? Okay, thank you for asking that question. So the very first thing that I want you to verify, 100%, is how long the petition, the I-130 petition that your mother sent, was pending with USCIS. Because from what you're telling me, and again, got approved in December 2020, it might be documentary qualification, it does not apply. We are talking about just on USCIS side. So if it has been filed in 2015 and USCIS received it in 2015 and USCIS has been reviewing it or kept it, not necessarily reviewing it, but it was with USCIS for 5 years, and then in December 2020 they approved it. So 5 years your I-130 petition was with USCIS. In that case, if that is the case, then your son definitely qualifies under CSPA because he is now 23 years old, and what CSPA allows you to do, it allows you to subtract the amount of time the petition was pending with USCIS from your child's current age on the day of the interview. So if on the day of the interview, after subtracting, and in your case it's 5 years, again, you need to verify that because I don't know what you mean by approved in December 2020 because again, approved in December 2020, it can be documentarily qualified. There's a few stages in that process. But if you mean approved by USCIS, then you have 5 years that you can subtract from your son's age. And if you do that, he's going to be 18 years old under CSPA. I know it's a little bit strange, but this is what the Child Status Protection Act allows you to do. For that, you need to look at the notice of receipt, the initial notice of receipt for the I-130, and then notice of action, again, that you received from USCIS saying that the petition was approved. So if this is between 2015 and December 2020, USCIS, not the NVC, not the documentary qualification, not any of that, just the USCIS part, then your son definitely qualifies under CSPA. But if you calculate it and it's less, and it's, let's say it's 1.5 years only that the petition was pending with USCIS, then yeah, unfortunately your son ages out under CSPA, so that would be the next consideration to think about, is how to make sure that your son can at least travel back and forth, at least, so that he can visit you while his own petition is pending, because that would be the next step for you. Once you come into the country with an immigrant visa, you become a permanent resident, and if your son is not married yet, you can petition for him. He will be in F2B, and there's a long time wait, and it's frustrating. But if there is, if you can find, whether it is a regular, visitor visa or a student visa or some kind of exchange program, if there is a way for your son to travel back and forth and still, be united with his family, it's a lot easier to wait for, all this processing of these petitions. But yes, definitely verify how long the petition was with USCIS, because that is the amount of time that you can subtract from your son's age under CSPA. So let me pause the response, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Paula Dome 7324. Good day, sir. Thanks for all the update you have been giving. My priority date, May 2016, documentarily qualified November 2022, F1, chargeability area is Ghana. How long do you think it will take for me interview to be scheduled? Thank you. Thank you for your question, Paula. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on for F1. So you're from Ghana, so you're in all chargeability area, and we are looking at June. So let's look at the graph A, and right now F1 is on July 2015, and that is the priority dates that are as of June 2024, they will be becoming current. And you are in May 2016. So you are still about a year away from your immigrant visa becoming available. So you're looking at about a year before the priority date becomes current, before your priority date becomes current. Again, it's a rough estimate because visa bulletin, it doesn't always move 1 month every month. Sometimes it moves faster, so a few months ahead, which is good. Sometimes it doesn't move at all, so just keep checking on the visa bulletin on this channel. I do every month, new visa bulletin comes out, I do a comparison. But roughly about a year. And then of course you have a wait time for the interview to be scheduled. That depends on how busy the US Embassy is in Ghana. And like I've mentioned earlier, it's about a year seems to be on average as of right now in countries that don't have a too busy immigration flow. So yeah, so total I would say you're looking at about year and a half, potentially 2 years before you actually get on hand your immigrant visa, before you get your interview scheduled. All right, let me post the response and we're gonna move on to the next one from Lily Bell 6125. Thank you for your response, sir. Keep up the good work you're doing, Lily. I am glad my response was helpful. Let's move on to the next one from, again, user, sorry, no name. Wife of permanent resident, priority date December 02, 2019. Documentarily complete since 17 January 2023 and updated since 19 July 2023. Category F2A4 instead of chargeability. Cote d'Ivoire. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. When can I expect visa interview? All right, let's take a look, see what's, so your priority date 2019. I'm pretty sure you're already current. And I'm pretty sure you've been current for a while now because F2A right now is on November 2021. So I'm not sure exactly how long you've been current on the visa bulletin because especially for the F2A, visa bulletin has not been moving 1 month every month. It's been moving like 3 months, 4 months every month, which is great. So it's catching up. That's definitely good news for everyone in F2A category. So yeah, you definitely been current now for significant amount of time. I'm not sure Cote d'Ivoire, I'm not even sure where it is. My geography is bad. But I have not ever got a question from a person from over there. So that kind of tells me that maybe the US Embassy is not as busy over there. So depending on how long you've been waiting already, I would say, you know, if you have been waiting for 6 months, on average, 6 months after your priority date became current. On average, it's about a year, it seems like, throughout the world in the countries where the immigration flow is not as busy. So you're looking at another 6 months max. So I would say by the end of this year. And I think you have been current for at least 6 months now, judging by your priority date. But again, if you want, let me know how long you've been current in a separate comment, and I will, you know. But yeah, it seems to be about a year now. So I would say by the end of this year, you're definitely looking at your interview. Because I'm pretty sure it's already scheduled. You just don't know it yet because, like I was mentioning in my earlier response to somebody, they don't announce the interview date earlier than 30 days. So it's not very convenient, honestly, because it's a lot easier to simply know, yes, my interview is a year from now. I know it's a long time, but at least I know that it is from a year from now. Instead of waiting for 11 months in the dark, not knowing when your interview is, and then they schedule, oh, your interview is in 30 days. Yeah, but this is how it is, unfortunately. So yeah, hopefully my response was helpful. And like I said, yeah, let me know how long, if you want, you know, a little bit more details, how long your priority date been current, and I will respond. I'll try to respond in one of the next videos. All right, let's move on to the next one from Chris NE2FB. Hello, thank you for the videos. They're really helpful. I am F11, so subcategory F1 category, and my priority date is September 2015. My documents were qualified in 2021, and I'm still waiting for an interview. I'm a part of all chargeability area except those listed, and my date is getting closer. But my daughter turns 21 in 3 months. I'm worried if there is not much movement for my priority date to become current, will my daughter lose the chance to be eligible for a green card at the same time as me? Does the CSPA apply in this case? And if not, what should I do? I would appreciate getting an answer. Thank you once again. Chris, thank you very much for your question. So let's take a look, see what's going on for F1, first of all, for all chargeability. So as of June, it's going to be on July 2015. And you are in September 2015. So you are getting really close, about, if we see consistent movement, July, August, September, so like 2 months. But the thing is, depending on where you're from, how long you will be waiting for an interview, and like I was mentioning earlier, it is about a year, roughly. It is definitely pushing very close because your daughter is turning 21 in 3 months. So in 3 months, about 3 months, you will be current on the visa bulletin. Your daughter turns 21 in about 3 months. Now, give it another year, around a year, before the interview is scheduled. And take a look at how long your USCIS petition was pending. A lot of times, because F1 takes quite a long time, USCIS petition does take 2-3 years before it is reviewed, before it is approved. So if you do have between the notice of action and the notice of receipt, so the very first notice from USCIS saying, hey, we received your I-130, your priority date, which is September 2015, we know that. And when that I-130 was approved by USCIS, so not the NVC part, not the documentary qualification, but when the I-130 was approved by USCIS. Between those two dates, if you have 2-3 years, which I think you should, because you are in F1, and whenever it comes to F1, USCIS, they don't review those applications so quick because there is substantial amount of backlog, and for categories that have substantial amount of backlog, a lot of times they don't get so quick. So you might have 2-3 years, and if you do, then you should be pretty good, and your daughter should be qualifying under CSPA because, you know, she's gonna be 21 in 3 months. Let's say your interview is scheduled in a year. On the date of the interview, she's gonna be around 22. If you have 2-3 years, even 2 years, even 1.5 years of your USCIS I-130 petition pending with USCIS, you subtract that from your daughter's age on the day of the interview, she is under 21, under CSPA. So that's number one thing for you to figure out, those dates between the date the petition was received by USCIS and the date the petition was approved by USCIS. That's step number one. Now, if you determine that it is only 6 months or 8 months or whatever, and you're gonna know that it's gonna be pushing on the day of the interview, it's gonna be pushing it very close, and there is a potential that your daughter is gonna age out on the day of the interview. In that case, start searching for, you know, some kind of backup ideas for your daughter, student visa, regular visitor visa, exchange programs, just so that you don't have to separate and you can travel together, and, you know, she can be here as an international student while your petition for her is pending, because as soon as you enter the country with your immigrant visa, you will be a permanent resident. And if your daughter is not married by then, you can petition for her as a permanent resident, petitioning for son or daughter over 21, unmarried. She's going to be in F2B category, which does take some time, but you know, there's still ways for, you know, for a family to be together. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, and for anyone, if you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Just make sure not to respond to my comment within your comment. Just submit it as a separate comment, because if you respond to my comment within your comment, YouTube does not send me the notification for those for some reason. But yes, hopefully my answers were helpful. As always, thank you for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.